Welcome to Only One You Need Radio. We're not the only one you need. You are. We just show you how to get out of your own way. With your host, speaker, author, business coach, and consultant, David Dubé.
Welcome to Only One You Need Radio. It's your host, David Dubé. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. In this episode, I want to talk about the problems with money. In fact, I want to talk about your problem with money, your problem with finances in general. Now, it's interesting, and I know a lot of people who are amazing with their money, absolutely crazy amazing with their money and their finances. And I see the transition for a lot of people being themselves. Money's not the issue. Money's never the issue. And some people have it, and some people are just naturally gifted with this ability, and some people aren't. I have one of my great friends, in fact, talking about it, he's talking about how, money's always never been an issue with him, for him, and I've never seen it be an issue for him. And hearing him complain about it is like, dude, shut up. You've never had an issue with receiving money. Money just follows him everywhere he goes. And he's like, well, but then when I point it out, he totally agrees. He's like, yeah, I guess you're right. I've never had that issue. Where I, on the other hand, I've either been an all or nothing person. And a part of that has been figuring out what my deal has been with money, why I had and have had issues with money in the past. And the benefit I have is it's how you relate to things. Everything is relational based. This whole world and everything we do in it is all relationship based. And if you don't have good relationship skills, you're probably not going to have good money skills either. And it's interesting that even some people have amazing relationship skills. They just don't know this. And because they don't know this, they don't know how to apply it. And it's always missing from them. Now, if you've had issues in your past with certain, let's just say abandonment being one of those issues. So it's an emotional issue because of family or what have you. That often it triggers in one of two ways. One way is that you've never been given anything, so you have to fight for everything you've ever needed, and you'll end up with more than you ever cared to. Like my friend, he himself had a rough childhood, but because of his circumstances, he always figured a way to make things work out for himself. Now, emotionally, no, but financially, yes. And for other people, it's the opposite. Financially, no, but emotionally, yes. And it's interesting how this works. Now, the opposite would be true as well for those who received everything from their family, were pretty much bequeathed everything that they've ever needed and wanted, and they were loved and swaddled as a child. And then as they grow older, because they were given so much, their want and their ability to fight for it wasn't there. But their skills with relationships were. So I fall into that like secondary category there. I had an amazing family. There was always love there. I didn't necessarily have to fight for much. I was the baby of the family. So things came to me easy because of that. And I'm not saying I had an easy childhood by any stretch of the imagination. There was trouble, I was abused, not by my family. And so because of that, though, my relationship with money was different than someone who had the struggle aspect. So I don't know your relationship to money, but it transformed for me. And it took a long time. It's not an overnight process. It took time to get there. And it's going to take you time too if you've never been there. And there's problems with this. And I'm going to talk about this in episodes coming up here because a lot's changing for me right now. And I'm super excited to share that with you. My website's going to be changing soon. So I'm super excited for you to see that and to be a part of that. And I'm going to be doing some amazing coaching things. And I'm super excited for where this is going. And I'm excited for where it can help you and take you as well. Of course, if you want to. You always have this podcast to go to, but some of you want more than just this. And that's what I'm going to share with you. And that's what I'm going to open up to you guys. So money flees people who don't have a good relationship with it. It's not because of anything else. It's not because you suck at working. It's not because you're a terrible human or you're really good, but you just hate money. It doesn't matter. You know that, and it's interesting that people have this belief that money is the root of all evil. So if no one's told you this before, you're probably living in a cave. Money's not. Money makes you more of who you are. So if you're more giving and more generous, you're going to have the ability to be more giving and generous. Money gives you options. Now, I believe that our society doesn't necessarily need to be built upon financial gains. In fact, and a lot of you believe that has been the reason for a bunch of shenanigans around the world, and it has been. So because we've seen what money's done and corrupted so many people, we believe that money is a corrupter and therefore we shouldn't have money. That's wrong. Because if you had the money and you had the ability, guess what would happen? You wouldn't have to deal with that BS. In fact, most of us who are nice and want great things could pool together and change the world based on that. But for so many who've been afraid of that and seen that, don't want money and therefore push it off. So you have to change that relationship. That relationship has to change. It has to transform. You have to look at money differently. You have to see it as a different thing. Now, a lot of those who feel that way are also energy-bound people. They're people who are more spiritually tuned, and feel different about things. They feel that there's an energy about the world and about the earth. And I talk about that. Everything vibrates. Everything has a resonant frequency to it, right? And I talked about this before with, the microphone I was speaking to, the monitor in front of me, the desk underneath me, all of it vibrates at a different frequency at the smallest level, molecular level. Everything is built with the same thing. And it's all vibration. Money is that same thing. In fact, money isn't even a physical object anymore. It's a digital one. It's made of ones and zeros, which is what? It's a frequency. And so once you can perceive it in a different light, it's going to become a different thing to you. It makes it easier to have a better relationship with it. It's an energy that flows. It needs to come in and it needs to go out, just like it already does. Money comes to you and then you have to spend it, right? Because you need things with it. It buys you the food that you use to nourish your body. It buys you the shelter, the car to get you from point A to point B, or the transportation access that you need to get from here to there. So now if you're looking at it as an energy, it becomes something different. It has a different palette to it now. And energy is what? Energy is transferable. So money is transferable in that aspect. Some people also believe that in order to have money, you have to take it from someone. And this is not true. This also is not true because the government, our government, in the United States anyway, they're printing money like it's going out of style. In fact, it's deflating the value of it. Now, we're not here to talk about the economy in that, which I will talk about in another episode as well. Now, it's interesting to me that we think we need to take something from someone in order to have it. And therefore, we're hurting someone by doing that. And that's also not true. It's just a transference of energy, once again. So if you're looking at it at the energy level, it's a transference of energy. And that's it. And the benefit it has to you is how now if you get that energy transferred to you and you have more of it than you had before, guess what? You have more energy to transfer somewhere else and to use somewhere else and to use for something else. And you can use that for good. This is the difference maker. You have to change your energy to what you want. You have to tune to it in order to get it. And when you tune enough things a certain way, they move in the same direction. This is what I'm talking about. You've detracted money from your life because you're not tuned to it. You've been chasing it away instead of allowing it to come to you once again. I talked about this in the last episode, right? If you want a job, instead of struggling to go get it, let the job come to you. Let them find you. Let people fight for you. It's the same thing here. Let money flow to you instead of cutting it off and then trying to find it. You're swimming upstream that way. Instead of swimming upstream, which is going against the current, which is extremely difficult depending on how fast the current is, why don't you flow with the river and allow all those things that are in it to come to you already? To me, that makes more sense. Doesn't it make sense to you to do that? So, when you go whitewater rafting, do you go upriver or do you go downriver? You go downriver. You have to go with the flow. You cannot go against it. But most people fight against it because that's what society tells you to do. And what do most people have? Do most people in society have more money or less money? Are most people living in fear or living by pleasure? How are most people living? You don't do what most people do. Otherwise, you're going to get what most people get, which is nothing. Remember the rewards people get in life? I talked about that many episodes ago. The rewards people get in life, if you do good work, you get okay rewards. You get less than good rewards. So is society giving you all the great things? So why pay attention to what everyone else is doing? Pay attention to the few, and you'll get greater results that way. So change your perception of money. And in doing so, you're going to get greater results. That's what this is about. Change your energy and your perception towards it, and you'll begin to get greater results. It's not like an instant transformation. Just by telling you this, your life isn't going to change overnight. If it does, you better tell me. But I'm telling you this because most people feel that money is something that evades them, that escapes them, that they can't have, that they have to work so hard in order to get and to achieve what they truly want. And they work tirelessly day and night and still don't get anywhere. I mean, do you feel that way? Have you felt that way? It sucks, doesn't it? But start to change your thoughts about the things that you want, and those things can start to come to you instead of always finding a way to avoid you. So begin to do that. If you thought this was helpful, if this has been useful for you, do other people a favor. Share this with them. Let other people be a part of this and hear this and know this. It's David Dubé with Only One You Need. It's time that you be the person you're meant to be. Believe in all that you're capable of and become more than you thought imaginable. I look forward to chatting with you in the next episode.